Do I need to ask them to send me a code?
Yeah. So somewhere in the sign up process, that'll be a thing. And of course, Bryan just sneakily sets us up
Turn
to
it
live.
Yeah.
There you are.
For us to notice. Hi, everyone.
I see what's going on.
So welcome to the Daytripper Photo Show, everybody. This is episode number 196, the heavy breathing show, apparently. Michael.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Not only is he a great breather, but he looks like a panda bear tonight. Must be cold where you're living. It's almost like it's winter.
Oh, yeah. It's Canada outside.
It's Canada outside. And thank God for that.
Yes.
So today is the Banter Show. Banter Show basically is a show we can talk about whatever we want to, generally related to photography, because that's what the show's all about. But sometimes we kind of branch off, and when there's an important thing that's gone on in the world, sometimes we'll get into that too. So who knows what we're going to talk about tonight? It's not like there's anything of importance that happened over the past 24 hours or so. So you know, the beauty of a show like this is the freedom that we have and the ability to talk about whatever we want to talk about. In future, maybe not that much freedom, because, you know, we're going to be going over to a radio show at some point in the spring, and we can't really get into politics or, you know, cursing or any of those things. But on the web, we can do a little bit of that. But although I've already told the guys, one sentence, that's all we have on a certain topic, and we'll get to that in a bit. But just I want to remind everybody the current photo challenge right now, and that challenge is going to be discussed actually on next week's show. That is the 16th of November, is going to be album cover. Now, we've got a few already submitted, and I'm excited because folks who told me that they were going to have a lot of trouble submitting for this challenge have already submitted. So good on you guys. That's really cool. Album cover is not necessarily a composite challenge, although you could use composite photography. And Michael, we did our composite session the other night. It was a great learning experience for everybody, don't you think?
Yeah.
And that's what we want. That's what we're looking for, is a great learning experience. Now, I have to tell you, I know you're very hard on yourself, but I've already used several of the things that you taught in my day-to-day editing. I did a composite at work for our colleague Steve. He had a client who had an eye in a different place, so I had to fix that. And then, you know, I thought, well, this is kind of cool. I could do a layer mask, and I know how to do layer mask now. So I ended up cloning one person's face on everybody's face in a group shot, which was, he thought that was funny. It was pretty terrifying. Yeah, it was. But I learned something from that, and I think that's really cool. So thank you for that. It was a fun session, and we're only going to continue with that. So should be a lot of fun. That was the Michael Lane composite class, and we're going to be revisiting that concept because it was a lot of fun. Phil, what have you been up to, man?
Well, I got to say, I've been slightly busy. I have a bunch of pictures I haven't edited. Well, not that I haven't. I've started editing them, and I'm just trying to get through them and get that done. And I spent today basically trying to write notes and write a presentation for class tomorrow. So that's always fun. I would like to know to the last minute, but
the joys of being a teacher, right?
Yes.
You know, it's funny. I was yesterday, actually, I was doing a thing. This is the second time I've gone to this school in Richmond Hill, and you know, I love working with kids and seeing that excitement that they get. You don't necessarily get that in the groups that you're teaching, is it? Do you?
They're excited. But some of them are excited because they're there, and some of them are excited because they're genuinely interested in what's going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's important. It's good that they have somebody like you to inspire them and to get them motivated and give them proper information. I mean, there's so many people out there who cover things differently, let's say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's my politically correct way of saying that they're very mean and grumpy.
That's not good. Mean and grumpy people, not great.
Not great. There was quite the rant, and we're going to talk about this by a colleague of ours about some of shooting for free. And, you know, there's interesting thoughts, pros and cons to shooting for free. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But, Michael, other than the session, what have you been up to this week?
Not very much, actually. I've been really taking some downtime, actually going to the chiropractor because I threw my back out injuring myself.
Ooh.
preparing the photos for that class, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it
So-
the stairs at the loft, or was it...
No, I finally got my big fancy lighting kit bag with all my new lights and everything for my location work. But that bag added up to, I was actually able to fit my camera bag into it and still have space to spare because I got the really big one. But that thing added up to probably 100, 200 pounds. So
Whoa.
trying to swing that tall piece of equipment onto my back like a backpack.
You only do that once,
My back
Michael.
went with it.
Yeah.
You only do that once.
It missed and the rest of me followed.
Oh, man.
That's not good.
So
Well,
my chiropractors had to go at it, but now that everything's reconnected properly, I can actually feel the pain. So I've been having a great time.
and that's why you're trying to stay warm.
No, yeah.
It's nothing worse than having back pain and having a chill at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, well, you stay warm, you stay comfortable. Hopefully we'll get through the show. I know, Phil, you got to take off right at 10:30, so we'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. And
No
in
problem.
that thought, let me just remind everybody before we get into our meat and potatoes of the show to join the Daytripper photo community on Google+. That's where everything happens. That's where we have our photo reviews. That's where you post your photos for that. That's where if you have any questions, you can ask them 24/7. There's hundreds of people in there, and many of them are just chomping at the bit to give you help. And I'm talking like really amazing educators, photographers, really cool people. I've recently left a community that I helped create. And it was because, I'm one of those guys that I just need to get along. I need to get along with people. And when there's conflict or when there's one person who is very argumentative or just, gets under my skin, I just don't want to be a part of that. So I pull out. I'm just not interested. And at this point, we'll see how that goes. I mean, if I go back to that or not, the door is open. But as of right now, my Daytripper community makes me happy because everybody in here is giving and they're not rude and there's no ego or attitude that I've sensed so far. Do you guys kind of agree with me on that?
I do.
I mean,
I agree.
when you have this many people, you're bound to have some conflict at some point, but I don't recall conflict too much in the Daytripper group, and I really appreciate that. I think that one of the things that's a mandate for me personally is to be positive, to be inspiring, and to be educational. Those are the three foundations of the Daytripper photo community. And when you start to have something contrary to that, something has to be fixed. And either a single person has to leave or the entire system has to change. And luckily, we haven't had to go through a lot of that. And so, I'm just really happy that we have this community where people can feel safe and not have to feel pressured into doing one thing or another. And that's where these challenges come in. You don't have to do them, but if you do them, we might get some good feedback and try and give you some encouraging ideas to, help you in the future, do different things. And also remember, if you like our videos, if you're watching right now on YouTube, after the fact, or even live, do us a favor, just click like underneath the video. That does a lot of things. First of all, it lets us know that we're onto something okay. Secondly, it lets YouTube know that we're onto something okay, which is always a good thing. And if you subscribe and we get to 1,000 subscribers, it opens up all new opportunities for us to put out educational videos and do different things. So we are really hoping that folks will subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos on YouTube, just let the world know that we're doing the show. We've now been doing it for over 4 years, and it's doing pretty good. I think it's getting a lot better. We're having a lot of fun and good content.
Absolutely.
And also, don't forget that you can actually chat to us right now. And I know Christine has already voiced her 2 cents about the current political situation. She says, "Good evening, gentlemen. We won't have much to say tonight, completely speechless and devastated." I think we know what she's talking about, but we're not going to get into that too much right now. And you know what, Christine? It's amazing how many people say that, and yet it happened. Anyway, of course, I also want to thank our sponsors. And interesting enough, our sponsor, Sennheiser, Justin, he was on our show at one point for our Sennheiser show. He was in the store the other day, and Phil got to meet him.
Really cool guy.
Isn't he?
A lot of really interesting things it sounds like they're doing. So that's a couple things to look out for, I would say.
You got it. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So Sennheiser lens pen, of course, as always, for being so supportive of the Daytripper photo community. We've given out the prizes for the last photo challenge, the last quarter, and I know Ivan received his cotton carrier hand strap. I gave him, you know, yeah, Ivan's a good guy. You got to be encouraging, and some lens pen stuff. And, you know, I love giving this stuff out because it gives people new tools that they can work with and keep their kit clean and just make better photos. And of course, Cotton Carrier, I mentioned them earlier. You guys have been great since day one. Absolutely love your product. And again, I just want to remind everybody, the sponsors that we have on the show, they don't pay money to us. It's not that kind of sponsorship. They give us prizes and they give us things that we can then give to our community. But also, they are people we went to specifically ask to be with us. It's not just random people saying, hey, say what you like. Say what you like our product, and here's some stuff. Now, I went to Sennheiser, I went to Lenspen, I went to Cotton Carrier, and of course, Gentech, the distributor for Sigma, has been with Daytripper since our second day trip, and they let us use lenses on our day trips, which gives our clients a broader experience, and that's just what it's all about. So thank you so much to our sponsors, Sennheiser, Lenspen, Cotton Carrier, and of course Sigma, for being with us since day one in some cases, and more recently in others. And now let's get to the meat and potatoes, because I have a feeling this could be a long show. We're trying to keep it short. I literally have one sentence about the latest U.S. presidential election, and I'm going to go here right off the bat. In the notes, word for word, this is what I have to say about this situation. New president, Drumpf. Enough said. Move on. That's it. But well, I'm going to let you guys say whatever you want to say. What do you think, Phil?
I was actually just going to use it as a segue and say something like, speaking of things that are full of hot gases, there's an article you were talking about just before we came on.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. Hot gases. Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of dumb people, but no, it's absolutely true. Filmmakers, Canadian filmmakers, no less, who took a stroll on the Yellowstone Grand Prismatic Hot Spring, are kind of facing jail time. I mean, three of them at least. 3 of the 4 are facing jail time. The other one pled guilty, and he's going to have up to $8,000 in fines and a 5-year unsupervised probation for doing this. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the Prismatic Springs are hot springs in Yellowstone, and you're not supposed to go near them. Like, you're not supposed to walk near them. You're not supposed to do anything. And these guys thought it would be hilarious if they were to walk up to the springs. Oh, thanks, Phil. And get to the edge and take some pictures of themselves with the mist behind them. And they're walking around like they have no care in the world. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me as an urban explorer with rules. You know, I care about the places I go to. I try not to do any damage, and I don't really leave anything there behind, and I only take photos. So that's kind of my mandate. And as well as a professional photographer, you would think that you would want to get permission to do videography or to film a movie. Michael, did you ever do anything like this where you're in a situation where, you know, you need permission or whatever, and you just kind of sneak in? Like, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but you know how frustrating this can be, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've gone to a few places that I wasn't supposed to get the shot that I wanted. I like exploring, especially I love exploring abandoned places, and you really face the issue of there's a lot of people that love going to abandoned places for much different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a lot of suspicion around it. You got to try to prove and make sure everyone knows that you're not there to screw around. You're there to
for sure
leave everything how you found it.
More recently, Phil was with me, and we went and we shot a movie at Camp 30, and we were lucky. Was it you that went over and asked for permission?
I think it was Gabriel when we got there.
Okay, so we were kind of getting ourselves prepared at Tim Hortons or something and getting all our cameras set up. And I guess Gabriel went over to the Camp 30 area and had a conversation with security guards. They had just filmed a movie there. And, you know, it was lucky that the security guards were there, and we told them what we wanted to do. And they're like, yeah, no problem. They let us come in, and we had the whole day. We could have taken as much time as we wanted, and it was awesome. That there's nothing better than doing something with permission. When Meanwhile, now, if you go back there, the minute you step foot on the property, they're watching you on cameras. They are monitoring it more regularly. You're not supposed to be there, and they will arrest you. So a lot's changed since we were there, but because we had permission, there was no stress. So if you're going to do something where you have this great idea and you're hoping to make some amazing footage of something, there are people that you can ask to make sure that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that. And if it says no trespassing, walk away. Walk away.
And of course, Gabriel commented in the live chat, I'm cool like that.
Oh, did he? Oh, he's watching. Wait.
Talk to them. I'll smooth it out.
Well, everybody remembers Gabe. Gabe was our co-host since the beginning of the show. Awesome that he's watching. Cool. Oh, there's quite a few people have been making some comments. Yes, Carrie is mentioning the Sigma 85mm art lens. That's an exciting new offering from Sigma. I'm really looking forward to playing with that. Their art stuff is fantastic. Very sharp, very good quality. And the 85 is something we've all been waiting for. Do you guys, I don't know. I love Sigma stuff, obviously. What I really think they're missing, though, is the 70-200 f2.8 revamp and the 105 macro. I think they deserve.
Well, the 105 macro is actually pretty good. Yeah, I could do with maybe a newer outer coating or something, but it's still a pretty decent lens, and for the price of it, it's hard to beat. And the 70-200 could be a little faster and could, at least on the Nikon side of things, not do that thing where it violently shakes the image stabilization when you try and take a picture. That'd be nice.
That would be nice. But the 85, the 105, the only issue that I really know about was one of our community members has a full frame Canon, a 5D, and she went through several of those copies. She actually brought her original one into Sigma to be fixed because there was this weird kind of moon halo effect happening inside the shot. Most apertures, and it got better and worse depending on the aperture, but she sent it out 2 or 3 times for service. Finally, they replaced it, and that didn't work. She still had the same issue, so I ended up switching over to a Canon macro, and it was fine. So, you know, that's my main intent for an upgrade on that end. But, yeah, lots of cool stuff. And that 85, yeah, I'm very excited about that. Let me talk to them. I'll smooth it out, Gabriel says. He's awesome.
They were actually super nice to deal with, but
they were, yeah. It's funny, actually. Don Komarechka is watching. Take a shot. He says, Brian, I still owe you a radio. I totally forgot that. I thought that Don totally forgot about that. We were shooting at one time with Don and a bunch of friends. We bought our walkie-talkies, and one of them got left behind. And anyway, it's all good. That was a long time ago, Don. No worries. All right, so let's get back here to the notes for the show. The filmmakers. Oh, yeah, actually, on that point, one of the funny comments that I read underneath the thread for the filmmakers that walked on the thing, a person named Sierra N. Vin, she says, I'd like to give them all seats on a dunking tub setup erected in the Geyser Complex parking lot, fed by miserably hot water, and allow visitors to the Geyser Complex to throw baseballs at the target, sinking them in the scalding water repeatedly. So, I don't know. I think that's a better punishment than putting them in jail, don't you? No comment. Moving on.
I'm staying diplomatic. I can't wish that upon anyone other than Trump.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway. Yeah, right. Okay, so speaking of rude things, there was a recent post by a friend of ours who really kind of went off about people who shoot for free. Now, what I don't see in his article are other reasons why people would do free work. I'm kind of in the same opinion that you want to not shoot for free because you devalue the work of people who get paid. And I think that's right across the board. And I totally agree with that. But on the other hand, Gabriel, who's watching right now, had an amazing idea to do free portraits at our studio. And the only thing we're asking for is a donation to Sick Kids. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sick Kids. I'm sure you are. Phil, I know you are. There is a hospital in Toronto called Sick Kids Hospital that does probably the best work possible for young people who have cancer and lots of other big problems. And to give money to a charity like that, to me, when it's your time that you're giving, not anything out of pocket, is one of the best possible things that you can do. I do believe that it's good to give charity where you can. I try as hard as I can. When there was a big original tsunami in Japan that destroyed the nuclear plants and so on, I donated all of the money from at least one of my day trips to Japan relief funds. And, you do what you can where you can, right? We're not all rich, but Gabriel's idea to do these portrait shoots and have them give money towards sick kids, I mean, it's already raised $500-600. I'm not exactly sure. And I give Gabriel full credit for that, because this is his passion project and he's putting in ridiculous amounts of time to get the thing shot, to get the photos edited, to get the clients happy. And you know what? He's doing it with a big grin on his face the whole time. So when you go off on people who do things for free, and I'm sure some of it was in reference to me as well. And, I shoot for the Vaughan Film Festival, and I've done some other work for free because I feel it's good to do some things for people who deserve it. And I don't know, not too impressed by the post. But I don't know, Michael, what do you think? Do you think there's flat rule, do not shoot for free?
Definitely not a flat rule. I can see where the argument is, and I even think the barrier, the boundary of where people draw that line of whether or not you should shoot for free or demand that you shoot for some form of pay should move for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are giving away free work a little too easily. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, even I'm still getting stuck in situations where if I'm not giving free work, or if I'm not requesting free work, I'm not doing anything. That we need to build portfolios, we need to build networks, and it's, as much as I would love to, it's in a lot of cases really difficult to break out of the, oh, you'll do it for exposure.
Yeah,
which is infuriating, because I mean, build me a house and I'll tell my neighbors about it.
Yeah, and that to me, I think, is really what the post is all about. That right there, people asking for exposure, and I disagree with shooting for exposure. I don't see any big benefit of it. I've been shooting for wrestling, not for exposure, but because my wife is a huge fan, and she'll be doing sound for them anyway, and they're awesome people. And it's not like when you have a small independent wrestling organization, it's not like they make huge money running these things. I mean, wrestlers get paid $50 each, and it's not big money in that world. So as a photographer, what am I going to go in and am I going to say, oh yeah, I'm not going to do this for you unless you pay me blah, 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 blah. No, I enjoy doing it. I've gotten ridiculous amounts of experience. They give me a lot of freedom to try different things and to work with different lighting and to experiment. And I've gotten wrestlers in the ring doing finishing moves with remote flashes and the whole thing. And that's experience I wouldn't have any other way. So, yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. You've got to pick your points, but I don't think it's right for one person to judge and to try and make others feel bad for what they're doing. That's my 2 cents. What do you guys think?
Phil? No, I agree.
I mean, like, a lot of the work I do still is experimental ideas, and I can't afford to pay anyone for the ideas that I have, so I'm working for free. I'm trading print photos with them to make it worth it, but I'm getting free models. I'm getting free makeup artists with some of my ideas, because I kind of really don't have any other options. So I can see the argument of don't do it for exposure, because that's just, it's sort of an insult to the working class. But at the same time, again, I'm not going to get these shoots done for myself or for anyone else if we don't have at least that option on the table in some contexts. Mm-hmm. And then also other projects where, no, I'm not going to shoot this unless you're paying me, because that's...
Yeah, of course. I mean, if it's something that's not going to bring joy to you, then the only reason to do it is if you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you on that one, that, if it's something that you want to do and you're maybe not 100% sure if the idea is going to actually work, having someone pay you to do it doesn't make a lot of sense. But if it's like, hey, it's my second cousin's sister's uncle's third wedding, you want to come shoot that for us? You get dinner. No, but I think it depends on a case per case basis. If it's something that maybe you're passionate about and you're like, you know what, I want to try something new and I'm not sure if it's going to work, then maybe getting paid for something that's not going to have any results might be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. There's some merit to it and there's some not merit to it.
I mean, ultimately, this conversation isn't going to change anyone's opinion. People are still going to do it or they're not going to do it. So it's really our 2 cents. But it's interesting because in the chat, there's some conversation going on about it. First of all, Christine says, wow, great job, guys. What a wonderful idea. I agree. I think I've seen the work Gabriel's doing, and he probably doesn't think that I've seen the work he's doing and doesn't know that I appreciate it as I do. But, man, he's put in a lot of work. And like he says, in the first day, they raised $500. So
and that's awesome.
That is super awesome. Don says, the only case where I'd let someone do something for free is National Geographic. If they wanted to use one of my images at no cost for exposure, they'd get it. Everyone else, think again. And as Gabe says, I would pay National Geographic to print one of my photos. So that's another case, right? I mean, if you have somebody like that asking to print one of your images, that is exposure. You will have your photo in the face of people who matter. And that's an interesting thought.
I agree.
Yeah. Don says, anyone asking for things for free, maybe think again. I'm happy to give my work for free when I see a worthy cause, and I'll always be that way. Okay, now, we talk about Don quite a bit on the show. Don's been a guest on many shows. He's a great photographer, but he does a lot of cool things as well outside of just what you would think is standard photography. He recently had a coin minted, a $20 silver coin, the Royal Mint of Canada. And, you know, this is a guy who is... He's been minted. You know, he's got a snowflake photo in a coin, and I want one. So if anybody is watching right now, hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
He's basically the guy that literally wrote the book.
Literally wrote the book
on snowflake pictures.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, for him to say something like that, that could potentially put a bug in the person who wrote that article's ear and be like, you know what? Maybe my opinion isn't the be all and end all. Gabe says, I know you're watching me. Always watching. Always watching. Always.
Somebody's watching. And we get taken over from YouTube. And like, I've been talking to Gabriel a little bit about, you know, coming out and doing some shooting for his, and I should really call it the Lofts charity Christmas portrait session. And that's the time that I'm okay not getting paid for something, because in a sense, it's more giving back than anything else.
Yeah, and it's giving back to a really good cause as well. I mean,
yes.
I mean, if you're doing all of that work for Joe Blow's 30th anniversary party or something like that, you know, whatever. But no, Sick Kids is a worthy cause. So let's move along here, guys. Kerry says he has a full-time retoucher. He will not do it for free unless it's a really good cause. There you go. I often get asked by photographers to do work for free and help them get work, but I've found that when I have, they keep coming back for free work. And that's, I think, another main point that he was saying in the article is the minute you do something for free, you instantly devalue what you do, and people expect free from there forward.
Yep.
So, like Gabriel says, getting published in National Geographic and having that on your resume will get you other jobs. Shooting your friend's Uncle Fish's wedding won't. Uncle Fish. I love fish. It's true. It's funny because it's true. Oh, Don Hennessy's watching. He says, I've been asked about 5 times to travel for my company to photograph various events. I get my normal salary and have been to the Azores twice, Lisbon, and San Francisco. So it's partially free/paid. And you know what? There's another example. That's world experience. You can't buy that. Well, you can, but it would cost you a shit ton of money.
Yeah, and so in a situation like that, you know, his company is still paying him to be there. And the advantage to that is he's using his skills and talents in a place that he may not have gone originally. So he probably wouldn't have, no, I'm not saying he wouldn't have, but maybe he wouldn't have paid to go over to the Azores twice or been down in San Francisco. And because he was being kind of offered to go there, that in itself is almost payment.
Absolutely.
Plus he was paying on top of it.
Well, you know, anything else to add on the free subject? Because we do have a lot of other topics to talk about. And
I do. Because some things, you know, you should pay for. But some things I think you should get for free. Like, I think Sennheiser needs to send us more free stuff, especially that binaural microphone that he was talking about when he was in the store the other day.
Oh, yes.
Which, if you guys aren't terribly familiar with binaural microphone or binaural audio recording, effectively you record audio in the same way that you yourself hears it. So effectively you have two channels for both your ears, and it goes through kind of software, well, at least theirs goes through software, so it can separate it out, so that if you were to record a video, let's say, and I'm going to use an example video from a year or so ago, someone walking down the street, you would hear everything happening around it as if you were on the street. So think of it as like 7.1 surround sound, just significantly better and significantly more realistic.
And again, this is for VR technology.
That's the nice thing. So with the VR, as you look around, it tracks your head motion, and because everything's recorded in that binaural setup, the sound actually reacts to where your head would be moving.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a quick second. Sorry to butt in your conversation, but
that's okay.
What we're talking about here is a handheld microphone that's like a ball, and then it records sound all over the place. Yeah. So if you are living in a VR world, and we're going to talk about something in just a second. In fact, it's a pretty decent segue, but there's a couple other cool things about Sennheiser we'll talk about. This is a microphone that gives you audio sound that matches the video that you're looking at, where you're wandering around looking at stuff. So Sennheiser apparently is the only tier 1 company making a VR mic currently. Mm-hmm. This is a new product that's not quite out yet, but it's going to be pretty sweet. And they're working with content creators to produce product for their own content and so on. It's not inexpensive.
No.
Unfortunately, you're looking about $2,100 for this thing. But if you're serious about creating VR content, which I'm hoping to get to, I don't think I can afford the... You know what? You're right, Phil. Maybe they should just give us one of those microphones. Wouldn't that be swell? Yeah, no, not going to happen. Okay, so Sennheiser actually, they're coming out with a waterproof action microphone as well.
Which is even cooler.
Well, I mean, actually, it's interesting that Gabriel reminded me here he still owes me a GoPro. Speaking of waterproof microphones, that would be very good to go with it, wouldn't it?
Well, and the problem, and some people may not have used GoPros or action cams, I should call them, before, but one of the biggest issues with them is most of the time you seal them in some type of waterproof protective casing. And sadly, that also means they're relatively soundproof. So everything sounds like you're knocking on your own head. Like it's all dull and hollow.
Muffled. Yeah.
Maybe not everyone's hollow. But anyway, it's all muffled and it sounds relatively terrible. And so the ability to have a microphone to record actual sound that isn't terrible is actually kind of cool.
It is. But that's Sennheiser news, and it's cool Sennheiser news, and I can't wait to play around with some of that stuff. But to get back to the VR thing for just a second, I was at the latest VizTech show, the Profusion show, and I was there with Ross, and we were talking about the VR kicks. Actually, I was really interested in VR because for Daytripper Photo, I'd like to create VR content, maybe do some 360 YouTube live streaming, and anybody who has VR headsets would be able to literally tune into the YouTube live stream that we do, just like the show right now. And I could be in Algonquin Park, and they can just turn and look at all the stuff going on, like the moose over there or the sunset over there, and with this awesome sound potentially and so on. It's a really cool thing. So we saw this company called VR Kicks. It's a Canadian company right out of London, Ontario, and they create a VR headset. So here is the box for it. We got them in at Henry's now, so Ross has an in with the purchasers of Henry's. He suggested it, and I think that had something to do with it. I don't know, but here is the VR Kicks product, and this is the box here. I've never done a video for product before, and earlier today I set up my GoPro up here, and I set my camera down here, and I shot some video talking about this thing. Whether it ever gets seen or not, I don't know. I'm kind of goofy on video, but this is the product right here. So it's a headset with a rubber or an elasticy strappy thing, and you literally just open this flap, you stick your microphone in here, and you can see they have
just your phone.
Your phone, not your microphone. They have these little clippy doos where it'll expand. There you go, that's better. And I've got a Sony Xperia Z2. It's a large phone, and in the case, it still fits. Phil, you tried it, didn't you?
I did, and even with my OtterBox on my iPhone 6, it still fit. So it's a nice design because a lot of these things you have to take it out of a case or blah blah blah, and it's nice you don't have to.
Mm-hmm. And it's you mentioned it's a nice design. I agree with that because even little details like no clips but magnet. It's all magnetic connection. You can see there's little magnets up here and there's little magnets here. So when it closes, you don't have to worry about clips breaking. You don't have to worry about it actually sticking in and having that clip hold it in. And even better, it's augmented reality as well. So it's VR and AR. What that means is if I take this panel off and your phone is here inside and your camera is sticking out here, if you have AR marketing, like a business card for, let's just say, a Daytripper photo business card, and you look at it and a moose comes up out of it and starts walking, you know, you can create this content that is interactive. And if you look at it with this product, it comes to life right in front of you in 3D, and that's pretty sweet. I'm also going to be talking with VR Kicks about potentially getting Daytripper photo front plates because they sell these plates separately for like $3 to $5. And if you have something simple like that, that's kind of a fun little thing you can do. And they have all different skins and different colors and so on. I think what makes this product the most unique, though, is the fact that it has the ability for this to happen. Let's see if I can show you. Here we go. So the eyes, so if your eyes are really wide or if they're very narrow, you can make it very comfortable. And as well, you can control the distance, which is more of a focus thing, with these little knobbies. So you would think something like this would be expensive. It's only $70, $69.99, Canadian, of course, and it's worth it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's better than cardboard.
Well, you know, cardboard's not bad. I mean, for $14.99, $15, it's not bad. But definitely, it's really cool. And there's content like crazy. iPhone, Android, you name it. 360 content. We were watching the Discovery Network shows and so on. Fun stuff. That truck that plowed through all those cars.
Yeah, the end of Mythbusters. The literal end of Mythbusters. One way to end things. But yeah, really cool video to watch.
So check it out, guys. VR Kicks. Like I say, they're pretty cheap. A lot of fun. Also, new product from Pentax. Now, we talk about Pentax, I think, more than most shows because it's good stuff. I think it's really good stuff. We always joke that one of our viewers, Andrew, is one of the only Pentax users I know. And he loves it. He's like a fanboy Pentax guy. It's really great stuff. So we talked about their full frame camera that they're coming out with a few months ago. And today we're going to talk quickly about their new K70. So it's basically like a Canon Rebel series. It's nothing high end. It's that intermediate kind of product. But it's got, I think, 24 megapixels. It's got great focusing. And if you compare it, it's about $100 or so cheaper than those other cameras. It has in-camera sensor shift technology. Bless your soul.
Thank you.
And yeah, it does everything that you'd want a camera to do. It shoots 14-bit RAW, 6 frames per second. The only negative, and I'm not even going to say it's a negative, the only difference, I guess you could say, comparing it to a D5500 or a T6i is like the number of focus points. Yeah. It's 11 points. It's not 19 or 39 points like the Nikon or the Canon. So it doesn't have touchscreen. But it can go to 102,400 ISO. Pretty high ISO.
It's real bad.
Probably not going to look good doing it, but it could do it.
Well, you never know. Like, we're getting better and better sensors, better and better processors all the time. It might be okay.
Well, I'll check it out when it comes up. Nice. All right. Michael, you've been quiet, man. I'm just going to put the camera on you for a couple seconds so you can, like, say something.
I know next to nothing about Pentax, so I don't have much to contribute anyways.
That's all good. What about
from being in love with their medium format camera, but
that is something to be in love with.
The direction everyone's going lately, I wouldn't be surprised if the ISO on this was really impressive.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It'll be definitely something we got to try out. And I will talk about that when it comes in the stores, because it eventually will. I'll give it a good test.
Absolutely.
But on a sadder note, y'all heard of the GoPro Karma, the almighty GoPro Karma, which is now officially
hearing about this today,
fully recalled. total recall. Sorry. Got to get to Mars. Less focus points, but does it focus well? Well, Carrie, that's time will tell. I mean, that's a good point because you don't need 1 million focus points to focus well, right?
If you want.
Yeah, you just need one good one, but a good one. So yeah, we'll check that out for sure. But yeah, the GoPro Karma, a total recall. Apparently, the thing shut down and would just crash.
Yeah, because as soon as it got released, there was stories of it having not great battery life, and like not great meaning like it was supposed to do this and it was doing that. I was reading today that yes, they just die.
Mm-hmm. And even if they're operating correctly, if you own it and it's operating fine, they're still saying cease using it immediately.
Which is not great because it already isn't as good as the DJI option. And this isn't going to help it. So first off, GoPro kind of had an issue with their marketing because they came out with it and then 3 days later, DJI came out with theirs, effectively the same product. And now this is happening. It doesn't look too good.
No, and GoPro isn't really doing that great to begin with. The Hero 5 came out, which was a good change. When the 4 came out, the 4 black and silver, to me, that killed the company. I mean, they came out excessively expensive. And comparing against products like Sony and then now the Nikon, we're not a big fan of the Nikon unit.
No,
we gave it a good shot. We are done with the Nikon unit.
Yeah, their stock's not doing too great either.
They just fired 1,000 employees.
That's going to push it lower. It went from $17 in October to about $10. It's not a good loss.
That is a scary thing. Yeah, eliminating 1,000 jobs in Japan, or 10% of its domestic workspace over the next 2 or 3 years. So that's kind of scary.
Maybe I'll admit they do some really cool stuff, but maybe if they don't send people to the edge of space and put money into research, they might be farther ahead. I'm severely outdated on this, but Felix Baumgartner was a couple of years ago, but that's okay.
Didn't he play for the Leafs?
You know what? How about that? He scored about as many goals as most of the Leafs.
I think I'm thinking of Ken Baumgartner, the old brawler back in the day. Yeah, I'm aging myself. Okay, so something else that I think is really cool, and this is a fellow YouTuber, a friend of ours. His name is Ken Domik. If you don't know who Ken Domik is, look him up. Domik. Ken Domik. Awesome guy. And he's a YouTuber with a heart. He's one of those guys that's his full-time job is YouTube. He records his daily activities. Once in a while, he'll walk into the store with his camera and he'll make a little video talking about he just bought a card reader or this or that. But he's using his visibility on YouTube right now to raise funds for a terminal cancer patient who is currently using a walker who wanted to skydive as their bucket list. Apparently, this lady, she got terminal cancer a few years ago, and she then broke up with her husband, and she went through this whole life change so that she could, I don't know the whole story behind it, but apparently on the 25th wedding anniversary, they together were supposed to go skydiving. And she was like, well, I guess I'm never going to get to do that now. And Ken took it upon himself to start a GoFundMe fundraising thing for this woman. Her name is Kim, to go skydiving. So it just so happens that his base of people that watch him is huge. And apparently somebody actually donated vouchers so she can do the skydive. So they don't even have to use the money for the skydive, but instead all of the money is going to go to cancer research. So I think it's just amazing. Again, it's just like what Gabriel was doing for sick kids. Ken, another responsible YouTube or social media person using social media for good, is really coming through. I think he's raised around $1,200–1,300 already. And if anybody's interested, check out Ken Domik and his GoFundMe for Kim for the skydiving. And if you can, donate $5, $10, whatever you want to do. I think it's a worthy cause. And whether the money's used to have her skydive or not, it's going to go to good cancer research, good cause. So cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right, well, that's pretty much what we have for our main conversation, and we can always revisit another topic because there was a pretty interesting thing that happened. But before we go any further, I just want to throw it out to you guys. Is there anything that's happened in the photography world that you would like to discuss?
I definitely wanted to talk about that new app.
Do it. Go for it.
Yes.
So if
Please
I can
do.
show everyone this, I'm going to screen share quickly. There is a new app out that is currently being beta tested. And if you go to blog.fstop.fm, you can check out these guys' website. And you can see one of their top posts right now is the private beta that you can sign up for. And they're testing this app out on iOS, Android, and on web. And it is a social media app that's designed sort of like the dating app Tinder. But what it does is it connects you with everyone in our sort of industries: photographers, models, makeup artists, hairstylists, wardrobe stylists, and I believe they're even bringing filmmakers into the equation. They've got fine artists, like just visual artists, graphic designers, retouchers, and it's a huge matchmaking platform for everyone in this industry. And it's currently being beta tested right now, and their deal for the beta test is if you go through with this beta process, you check out the app, look for bugs, look for features, and submit a form that you can fill out where you respond about anything that you've discovered, any thoughts that you have on it. Then when they finally roll this out to the public, they're eventually going to have a premium, a pro model of the app that you can get access to via subscription. If you go through with the beta process, then you will have the pro version for free for life. So really, really nice deal to jump on this and really check it out and help them refine this product before it goes public. I've already got it. I've started giving my own feedback. Turns out the person I was talking to was actually the creator of the app. So we've had a really nice one-on-one conversation going on over email for a little bit now, talking about the app. This is very similar to another website called Model Mayhem, which is initially the big social media platform for matchmaking with models and photographers and makeup artists, exactly like this is. And Model Mayhem was, to an extent, an inspiration for this, but this is a more modern approach, a faster approach, that everything's just straightforward right there. And that's what the creator was saying is exactly what he wanted, that he just has constant, immediate access to who he's looking for and being able to search through everything. And I think it's a really, really cool idea. So if you're interested in working with models, if you're interested in working with anyone else, makeup artists, retouchers, this is a really, really cool app to check out. And if you do go in during the beta test, go through the process. You've got the app for free for life. So whether you use it or not, having that opportunity would be kind of awesome to have in your tool belt.
So does it have any statistics or any information in it already? Like, can you see models and can you see all that?
It does. Let me see if I can.
Well, the reason I asked the question is there a category in there that tells you the reliability of the person you're hiring? Because I think we all know that the biggest problem with models and people that we hire in this industry is, I don't want to call them flaky, but they don't show. Like, I did one session with Navi. We were supposed to have 2 models, and at 3:30 the very morning of the event, the female model, I can't make it. So if there are people on here, I think the only way it can be a real valuable tool for a person is to have some sort of rating on their reliability rating. So if they don't show up, you go in, you make a comment on their page, people know that they missed on an appointment, and it affects their rating.
Yeah, I can't find my password for some reason.
And I tell you what, next time you talk to them, see if they will come on the show as a guest as well, Michael, because I think that would be a really neat person to have on the show to talk about their app, to talk about all of these things, because this is something that I know a lot of people, I know our studio, we would definitely want to have an app like this that we can keep up on new people and so on. And if there was a way to tell if they were reliable or not, that would be huge.
Yeah, and they do actually have that feature. One of the things that they've included, you can see down here, is reviews, and you're actually able to leave reviews on each other's profiles.
That's good.
And they were saying one nice thing, just to be careful, is you can review reviews. They can actually, if you feel like someone's being a little unfair, if there's something sketchy about what's going on, then you can have administration, you can have moderators take a look at it. And I'm not so sure the details on that part, but they did mention that as being something included.
Cool.
But yeah, you can definitely leave reviews on each other's profiles. You can directly message each other. There is going to be a very close relationship with the moderators throughout using this app. And one thing that they did that I think is really nice is actually, depending on the different social media platforms that you're on, there's very different philosophies on sort of mature content in photos, the not safe for work content. And some people, some places will just ban you altogether for having any nudity in photos. Some people really appreciate those photos. Some people are on the fence about it. What they've decided is if you have that type of portfolio, if you have that in your market and you want to share that, you can, but your profile will be tagged as not safe for work. So you actually need to have extra permissions to go through to actually show any of the content on that account if you ever come across one. And if you're not flagged as not safe for work, then you can be reported, but instead of being punished for being reported, the administration will just go through, check out your account, and flag your account as not safe for work so that you've got that little extra barrier. And I think that's a really diplomatic approach to that. Just one of the little things that they thought of with this that I really appreciate, because there's a huge argument across a lot of different platforms over how to approach that topic. And I know even Facebook, you get reported for nonsense all the time that doesn't even count as being offensive.
Because everyone is always offended.
Yeah. And I mean, you can show people getting beat up and it's totally fine. But you can show someone that, like, even you can show someone who's nude in the photo but completely censored. So you know they're supposed to be nude, but you still don't see anything. And even those will get flagged as completely mind-bogglingly offensive images. But seeing the guy getting beat up on the street corner, don't worry about it.
Yeah, see, I have a rule. If I, on Facebook or any social media, if anybody posts stuff like that, like, I hate to say it, even when I'm like the best man from my wedding posts deer kills that he's made and stuff like that, I had to unfollow. I don't want to see any of that. I just, my life does not need any more of that. You know what I mean? So I understand. I any of that kind of violence, not interested at all.
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate something here. Gabriel did mention that, the promotion that he's doing, the free portrait session for sick kids, it's not just Gabriel. It is the Loft Studio, which I'm a partner in. And he says everyone's pitching in, not just me. It's a team effort. Now, I have to say I haven't pitched in as much as I would like to because, my life this time of year is a little bit crazy. And I just wanted to let Gabriel know that I really appreciate the work he's doing on it because he's kind of doing the bulk of it, right? Robert's helping out shooting. Joseph is going to help shoot quite a bit. But Navi's back from her trip to New Zealand. Navi's in New Zealand right now, and she's doing these live Facebook Live posts from New Zealand, which is so cool. I'm sure she'll help out with some portrait stuff too. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's great, and that he's raising money in the first place is just awesome. Okay, Phil, is there anything else you wanted to add before we say goodnight?
No, I did kind of want to bring up that app, so I'm happy that you brought it up, Michael. I also learned about it about 45 to 50 minutes ago, right before we started. So I will say that signing up for it and getting a profile set up is actually super easy and very quick.
Cool.
And if it's something that you're interested in, I would totally recommend doing it now, as Michael said, because get on board at the beginning.
I'm going to do that myself.
Now, just as a small warning, I don't know when the live app is actually getting rolled out, so I don't know how long we have.
It could be a while.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
Because we got to go through Apple's loopholes and Android's loopholes and security and that kind of thing.
It happens. It's beta. Beta may never happen. It may happen. You never know. I signed up for that Ello beta, Ello social media thing, and I don't even know what it is. I'm still not interested.
I don't know what that is either. I thought it was an Adele song.
That's a good song. All right, so I just want to remind everybody who's watching before we say goodnight that the current photo challenge is album cover. I can't wait to see what everybody's doing. You have 1 week from today to submit those photos for album cover, and we'll do our review on the 16th. This is the first week of the fourth quarter of the photo challenges, so guys, get your photos ready, made, and posted. And also, as a reminder, you post them to the Daytripper photo community under the weekly photo challenge wall. So we can actually, when we do the show, we just go to that wall and we're able to just see all the photos shared and submitted. It does have to be a new photo. If you use components from old photos, we will forgive you, but it has to be a new image created for this challenge. And as usual, we try and end the show with a good quote, something inspirational, something from, a really important, awesome person who said something very, very meaningful and poignant. So today we're going to use a quote from the newest president of the United States of America, Donald Drumpf, the 45th president-elect of the United States of America, with probably the truest thing he's ever actually said in his entire campaign. And the quote is, "I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot people, and I wouldn't lose voters." I don't doubt it.
And there was a point in his campaign where that actually became a fact, where you could do pretty much whatever he wanted, and he was pretty much set with his normal group of voters. Although I know we don't want to talk about the election for too long, but the one thing I'm really happy to see is I haven't yet seen a post or a news article or something about someone saying, well, I voted for him, but I didn't think it was going to happen. A la the Brexit that happened earlier on in the year. So I at least the people that I think voted for him wanted to vote for him, and not because they figured that he wouldn't win, because that is the dumbest thing that I think anyone can ever do. Right.
I thought it was a joke. I thought it was just going to be a joke. Like, I literally thought it would be a landslide for Hillary. I literally thought that all of the rigmarole, all of the conversation about Trump actually being a contender was just a bunch of hooey to, rile up the American people. I really honestly thought that. And I thought when I woke up this morning, I would see, oh, Hillary wins by a landslide. It was the exact opposite. Like, he didn't win by a landslide. It was a narrow margin, but he got both houses. He got everything. So
a lot of people thought it was actually a conspiracy of just let's put a complete moron in the elections so that Hillary's guaranteed a spot as president so that she doesn't actually have competition.
And it could have been because he is a friend of the Clintons, which makes the entire thing very confusing.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I lived in the States for a while, and I lived there when Carter was going up against Ronald Reagan. And everybody kind of thought that, Carter was known and everybody pretty much liked him. But then all of a sudden the elections happened and it was a blowout. Reagan totally destroyed him. And everybody thought Reagan was a joke because he's an actor. Everybody thought that, he wouldn't really take hold and, it's all just a joke. He's an actor. He's a face, whatever. The difference, though, then is he was a man's man. Like, he was a doer. He was a respected person. And when he did win, it wasn't like, oh, my God, the world's going to end. It was just, okay, well, we got an actor for a president now. So this is such a different thing. Yeah, okay, so Donald Trump was an actor. He was in Home Alone. Yay.
I forgot about
that. I'm probably in a lot of other movies, too. But his role in Home Alone was absolutely my favorite. Anyway. All right, guys.
I can't say I remember his role in Home Alone.
What's that?
I can't say I remember his role in Home Alone.
Well, it's when little Macaulay Culkin went into the hotel, the Royal Plaza Hotel, and he's walking in, he's about to make his reservation, and Donald Trump walks past, and he looks back at Donald Trump, and Donald Trump looks past at him, and then he keeps on going. That was the moment.
Okay.
I can say a few years from now, we're going to see Trump's biography. And we're going to find out that the whole thing was a conspiracy to get Hillary into office.
And it just
backfired, and now he's stuck with it.
Oh, man.
So that's my dream now, is to find out that he got in by accident.
Well, accident or not, it happened, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a world where Donald Trump is president of the United States.
Well, it doesn't
All
take
the
effect
values
until
that your
January,
parents
so you got
taught-
some time.
All the values your parents taught you don't count.
Nope, nothing
Can be
matters.
mean to anyone.
It'll be 100 years ago in a couple of weeks. So anyway, thank you everybody for watching our show tonight. It was a lot of fun going and bantering about stuff. We barely squirreled, which is kind of cool. We stuck to the point quite a bit, and I really appreciate it, guys. Good work.
Well, it's always fun, and we had interesting things to talk about. Well, not that we don't normally have interesting things to talk about, but interesting things happen in the world, interesting things coming up in the world of photography and technology. So it was, I would say, a little easier to stay on track.
Yeah, very cool. Michael, anything you'd like to add before we say goodnight?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. I hope your back feels better.
Agreed.
You crack. All right. We're out of here, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you all next week. Get your photos in for album cover. Can't wait to see what you have done. And we will see you all soon. Take care. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you all.